With us, Republican Congressman Mike McCaul, chairman of the House Homeland Security Committee and a senior member of the House Foreign Affairs Committee. Good to have you with us, Congressman.
Good morning, Chris.
So this sense of urgency that the President of the United States needs to address Russian interference in our election first and make it a priority in this meeting with Vladimir Putin, do you agree?
It's not on the formal agenda, but I do think the President needs to get this out on the table and address it directly with Putin. He will deny it. I've heard him say that in the past, and the foreign minister, I've seen him denying that they did this, but I think it's important the President let Putin know that we know he did this. You know, I got briefed on this before the November elections. I asked the Obama administration to call out Putin for what he was doing. We need to have consequences to those actions, and we, quite frankly, Chris, haven't seen that. I think this is the opportunity, and not only from a policy standpoint, but politically, for the President to bring this up directly with Putin and tell him that we know he's doing this and to stop. And if he doesn't, there will be consequences.
But do you think the President believes in what you're asking him to say to Putin? I mean, you heard what he said in the press conference yesterday. He still says nobody really knows. He disagrees with the intel assessment from the intelligence community. He disagrees with what people like you just said.
Well, I think it's I've had the briefings classified. I've had a lot of classified briefings. It is clear and convincing evidence that Russia was meddling in our
Why
elections.
doesn't the President say that, Congressman?
I think the President, and I think he knows that, and I think the sooner
it's not what he says.
Admits that and moves on, he'll be in a better position.
Well, how do you explain it? I mean, you know, to your constituents, to yourself. If he knows what you know, and we got to assume the President, you know, you're wired in. There's no question about it. That's why we're happy to have you on the show. You get these briefings, but so does he. He knows everything you know. So why do you think that he continues to deny the reality that's so simple for you to acknowledge?
Well, I think he perhaps thinks it undermines the credibility of his election, possibly. I think he also had a healthy skepticism of the intelligence community in the beginning when they presented the dossier, for instance, to him. But I think since that time, he's grown into the office and has a deeper appreciation and understanding what the intelligence community can provide in terms of their products, their analysis. It's very important when you go over and meet with foreign leaders to have these intelligence briefings so you know who you're dealing with and what the issues are. I do that when I travel overseas like I did to Ukraine, and I think he's growing into this role.
But what did you see yesterday in terms of growth? I mean, it was just yesterday in the press conference. He said, yeah, you know, they were wrong about the weapons. He embarrassed the intelligence community on the world stage. I mean, there's no other reckoning of it. He said they got the war wrong. He said that he doesn't really buy what happened here. It could have been somebody else. I mean, how does that evidence the growth that you're suggesting he's had in confidence in the intelligence community since he entered office?
Well, I think a couple of things he did yesterday in Poland that was a good departure was a strong commitment to NATO.
True.
A strong commitment to back Article 5, which is if you attack one, you attack all.
True.
He did say it was probably Russia. That's actually, believe it or not, a step in the right direction. But
when he sits with Putin now, you're sitting with a guy, I'm just saying, just tactics. And as I said on the show earlier, and I stand by it, I've known the President a long time. I know about how he deals with people in power. I know how he deals in meetings. He can be very impressive. And I'm cautioning people who are checking him that, oh, he's going to be outmatched in this meeting. Don't undersell the President in terms of how he can do one-on-one. But just on the record, if he says to Putin, I know what you did, don't you do it again, there's a new sheriff in town, he's given Putin every ability to say, you don't know what I did. You don't trust your own intel people. You know that they're wrong. I didn't have anything to do with this. He's given him an out, hasn't he?
He is a very strong personality. I think he'll do very well in this meeting with Mr. Putin. And that's why I think it is important for him to emphasize that this is an important issue to the American people. And to at least raise the issue. I think Putin will automatically deny it, but as you reported previously, we have an uptick in Russian spies coming into the United States now. That concerns me greatly. We know they try to influence the elections in Europe, and they will continue to destabilize. Now, Trump did say he called against the destabilization from Russia, and I think that was a positive thing. But I do think he has to raise it along with Syria, North Korea, and Ukraine. Those are three big issues with Putin right now. But he's got to get that on the table and off the table to move forward. And I think Putin needs to be aware that this is important to an American president.
How big a deal do you think the North Korean threat is? Do you think that there's a chance that they're getting close to being able to strike the homeland with one of these longer-range missiles? And what do you think should be done about it?
Very concerned. I mean, this last launch, ICBM, has the capability to reach the coast of the United States, Hawaii, and Alaska. They are very, I think you can debate it. We're not quite sure, but they're trying to miniaturize this warhead to put it on top of this ICBM delivery system. So I think it's a very serious threat. I know they're coming up with a military strategy and plan right now off the Korean Peninsula. Really, I think mostly to push the diplomatic process and economic process to move forward. But I see this as a real threat to the homeland, and it's got to be dealt with by, he's going to be there. It's a great opportunity for Trump when he's with the president, of Russia and the president of China to talk to China about putting leverage on North Korea to get them to stop this bad behavior. Always, if you don't have consequences, you'll keep having this bad behavior.
Congressman McCaul, appreciate your perspective on these important issues.